The onboard race action from Clanfield Cross. This course is absolutely brutal. I got an absolutely mega start again, but at some point it's all going to come to an end. But I keep getting clipped in first time, which is absolutely wicked. I had to take an awful tight line here because Eli was coming up my inside and I wanted to shut the door on him. You can just see him there. I just about managed to get the old elbow in front of him to stop him chopping me up the inside and still get away in first place. I was absolutely over the moon with the start, and I know at some point I'm gonna miss a pedal. Touch wood, it doesn't happen, but I keep just getting clipped in first time and absolutely nailing it. But this course is savage. This first bit's pretty much downhill all the way to the bottom, and you can see if you look at the scenery in the background, this course is hilly. I am putting it out there. It is the hardest course in the world. It's the hardest course I've ever raced. The only one that comes close, in my opinion, was the Sven Nys course Basel that I raced, because that had some steep, nasty little climbs, some big ruts. This is brutal. If you ever get a chance to race Clanfield, you need to race it. It's got steps, it's got bloody walls to run up, it has got everything. But I'm absolutely on it at the moment. I'm flying, legs are pinging again, I'm feeling good. Only problem is I've got some strong boys behind me chasing me down. So you can see I'm literally bending the tape, trying to get all the speed I can. And it was a one bike race. Can you believe it? In December, a one bike race. Absolutely epic. I love it. It's just that perfect amount, like that perfect conditions. It's slick on top. If you get it wrong around these corners, you can see it's super slippy. Ian Field's gonna absolutely hate that corner because I dive bombed on the inside, but I'm protecting my lead. That's all I can say. No, I need to work on that, keeping it smoother. But up to the logs now. These are a little bit tricky. You've got to get them right. Just they're that height that causes a little bit of an issue where you've got to think about it. You can't just pop up and then round. This next little corner is super tricky as well because you like drop straight into a little descent and a couple of little molehills, but class. Look, you can see everyone chasing hard behind. So some of the hitters in this race, we had Tom Cousins, who's gonna rip my legs off in a minute. Sam, who came, spoiler alert, came second, and he's gonna rip my legs off as well. And then there was a couple of the Jersey boys, the usual suspects like Chopper Pedro out there. But this is where I was just saying to myself, you've just got to keep making it hurt. The heart rate wasn't maxed out, but the one bit I was worried about was the running sections that are coming up. I've said in previous videos, I feel like I'm a decent runner until you've got to run with a bike and your heart rate's already elevated. I'm not such a good runner then, it seems, because everyone else is so fast. But you can see the lads behind me. These corners were causing me all sorts of problems. You can see me sliding a little bit. I'm taking terrible lines. I was grabbing onto the posts. And I've got to admit, on that first lap when you're just going full send, you do make some terrible decisions because you're panicking a bit. You're trying to stay in front. You're trying to keep things moving. So the heart rate's dropped a little bit on that section, but I know it is about to go through the roof. And this is where my race starts to go a little bit downhill. Not downhill. This is when I lose the lead because I just didn't have the leg speed. Watch now. Watch Tom Cousins on my right come past me. Absolute Mo Farah. He's not just fast. Look at his long legs. Look at that stride. I never stride like that. I'm more of like I'm just a plodder, I think. But as soon as he come past, I was like, you got to just jump on his wheel, try and go with it. But he knows every inch of this course, and it is a bit of a powerhouse's course because there's a couple of you can see I totally missed that rut. What a chopper move. I was absolutely on the rivet now trying to go with him, but I managed to half get in that rut and come straight out the other side. Chopper move. But as I said, as soon as we hit some of these straights and he put the power down, I just didn't have the legs or the fitness to go with it. So I was trying my best to do exactly what Ian told me not to do, that dive bomber move up the inside where I close down the gap, but I'm not actually closing it down because I'm not getting the bike straight. So it's something I need to work on. This one was a tiny bit better. I need to I need to have a session with Ian where he actually shows me how to get around these corners properly, and he reckons it's going to make me a lot quicker rather than this line straight up the inside where I think I'm closing the gap, but I'm not actually closing the gap because the rider's already pulling away in a straight line. But this is where I say, goodbye, Mr. Cousins. I just cannot go with that pace. I mean, I'm doing over my FTP right now, like 350, 360 watts. There's only so much, Georgie boy, look, up to 500 watts. There's only so many spikes like this I can do before the wheels completely fall off. And in a minute, you're going to see I had to back off because I gave it all the ponies and had none left, no berries left. And I had to start easing off the gas. This is when the course gets super technical as well, these off-camber downhills, and I was having an absolute nightmare on these. I couldn't get it right, it was so slippy, it was just pushing you into that barrier. You saw I hit the barrier there, making mistakes, and I think Sam was about to pass me on the right there and I shut the door on him. But this next section as well, I think Tom manages to ride it really strong to get up there. Fair play. I am off running now. Like, it was so churned up from the earlier races, really tough. And I think I stay off the bike here and decide to run this section, hence why you're getting flung about like a rag doll here. I just felt like I knew I could do it, and I was damage limitation, not going to crash because there's still a long way to the pits. You fall off, something goes wrong. But I'm back on the bike now and shifting, and here is the wall. This part of the course is disgusting. Your heart rate goes through the roof. I'm going to speed it up because you don't want to see me run up a wall. But there we go. You see Sam comes past me, and as soon as we remount, look at the heart rate, 182. I ain't got a lot more to go here. And I just had to ease off the gas. All the ponies were gone, ladies and gentlemen. Your boy's a shell. And I had to let them go. As much as I always say, and Jay said in the last video, you always say you got to go with it, suffer to hold the wheel. But honestly, if I tried then, it was totally race over. I'd have been curtains. And you watch here, I tried to shut the gap down with a huge effort up here, like going over 500 watts again. This is not good, Georgie boy. 600, 700 watts. And I was closing the gap down. But what you need to remember with this little climb here, if you did race here, you get to the top and you've still got about a 45-second headwind drag to the top corner. Look at my watts now. I was doing like 200 watts. I had completely shelled myself. But I let them two boys go, and now the race was on. You can see the lads on the left. It was Pedro, Jay and Luke. I was trying to hold them off because I wanted to get that third place, and they were on the hunt. They were after me, and I could see every lap, every like few corners, they were getting that little bit closer, because I just went too deep on the first two laps. The first lap and a half, absolutely burying myself, and then I started look, you can see there I made mistakes again. I was like sliding down the bank, couldn't get going. But I was just saying to myself, just dig in, suffer, make it hurt, and try and hold them off. But it didn't last long as we pop over the hurdles here. I remember looking over my shoulder and Jay was on me, and I was like, that is it. As soon as he goes past, I'm gonna have to go with it. I really did rip it with everything I had up here. You can see heart rate's at 182. I think I hit like 185 for 5 minutes during this race. So Jay comes past and I'm like, jump straight on his wheel. Honestly, being on someone's wheel up here was a complete game changer. You can see I'm doing like 150 watts and we're actually moving now. I think this is the point where I hit like 185 for 5 minutes heart rate. I was just like, you've got to go with this now. Try and cling on for dear life and try and recover a tiny bit. But I did take a wicked line up here. I used it in practice. I stayed left, green is grip, and this was all slippy off camber. So I stayed really high there and it dropped me nicely into this corner. So I did go back past Jay there and got into this section first, which was nice because there was a tricky little rut just there. But it didn't last long, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. He came back past me and he really started to put the hurt on now. He ramped it up. He come past me to get into this next corner first. Look, put the power down, got in front of me, and then it was foot out, flat out. Oh, he nearly hit his leg on that post then. Jesus, I hadn't seen that bit. That was close. And yet again, I was like saying to myself, dig in, make it hurt. get on his wheel and go with it. But every time he was just surging really hard. Look, 700 watts to go with it. My legs were crying, my chest was jumping out, my heart was jumping out my chest, and I was just thinking, do not let him go. You want to beat these Jersey choppers. They beat you in the mountain bike season. Let's beat them at cross. But look, he was getting out the saddle and he was just putting the hurt on me. There was nothing I could do. I could feel the elastic stretching every time he got out the saddle. And I think it was just around this next corner, he puts a real big surge in. And this is when the elastic started to stretch. Just there, he gets out the saddle, I'm ripping it 700 watts. And you know when that wheel's just going, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. It's a horrible feeling, but fair play. He come past me like a steam train and he put the pressure on, and Georgie boy could not handle the pain or the pressure. So what happens here, we get into the stair section and I managed to close the gap down in a second. Just here, you can see the gap's opened up. For some reason, Jay was dismounting really early before the stairs, so I was managing to carry a lot more speed there, get off. But yet again, is everyone bloody Mo Farah? Why is everyone so fast at running except me? I just don't get it. I just can't run with a bike. Look, he's gapped me again on the run. So I got back on, and then as soon as I got back on, I was dispatched again because my legs just do not run fast enough. It's something that I'm going to work on next year. I'm going to be a running machine. But from there, he just opened it up, put the power down. I couldn't close the gap again, and he distanced me. And then I was just in absolute no man's land, suffering like a dog now. I was just thinking to myself, you've gone too hard, Georgie boy, and you are paying for it. You can see Jay on the right there. I decided just to start running this section now. I was having such nightmares on this off-camber. It gets to the point where you've just got to say to yourself, just bloody run it. But I've got to leave this clip in here. This guy, what a hero. He's wearing a Christmas jumper. He must have been sweating his nuts off. I salute you, sir, for doing it in a Christmas jumper. But we had about a lap and a half to go here now. I could see Jay catching up. Oh, you can't park there. Sorry, gents. I had to leave that in. I don't know who that was, but I apologise. But I was left this little clip in Ryan with his tech as he waves me past here, and I just open it up now. I know we've got like probably 10 minutes left of pain. What are we at? 48 minutes. I think the race was 58 minutes. And you can see I'm shutting the gap down on Jay. And I think he had to pit as well. So when he pitted, that helped a little bit more. And I was just going full gas now. I'd recovered a little bit from the early surges. The only problem is, I think where I'd gone so deep, every time I got out the saddle on this last lap, I was getting twinges of cramp in my hamstrings. And you know when you're like, oh my God, if I give it too much, the hamstrings are just going to totally go. And I was just there saying to myself, just do it. If you catch him, that's mega. Look, you can see I'm almost on him now. If not, your hamstring's going to go ping and you're probably going to have a DNF. But your boy is getting back on Jay's wheel. Up here, I didn't manage to close it on the run, but this next little section, the S-bends, they were off camber, slippy, there was ruts, and I think Jay had a bit of a nightmare, and I just managed to close the gap, and I thought to myself, as soon as I close the gap here, go straight past him, put the pressure on, and hopefully he's cracked and it'll get in his head a little bit. So here, I'm guessing this is where he says I chopped him. I didn't, I just had too much power, baby. But I went straight past him. I was like, get on the power, get in his head, make him think that you're absolutely pinging. Because at this point, I did take the inside line here because I was blocking him. At this point here, I had no berries left. I'm not going to lie to you. If I got out the saddle, my hamstring was going to go absolutely twang. So I just thought to myself, just set a pace, what you can do seated, keep suffering, keep making it hurt. And everyone in the pits were going mad. Jay's family and his pit crew were going mad. Del Boy and Gravel Granny were going mad. It was absolutely epic. But just here, Jay opens it up, and I've got to take my hat off to him. I couldn't respond to it. I knew if I tried, I was going to blow my biscuit. I was doing like 300 watts at this point, and he just got out the saddle and absolutely dispatched me, ripped my legs off. But you know, never give up. I didn't give up. I was trying everything I could right now. And I did sort of close the gap there with a slightly better line, but then we got to this top section and he opened it up again. And I couldn't respond to it. So take my hat off to him. You can see we're both off running here this last section. And this was what I didn't need. Getting off and running, every time getting my leg over the bike, it was like little twinge of cramp. And I was like, come on, you can do this, get back on. And we got to the top of the final run up and I just thought, I'm absolutely shelled now. So you can see just here, I'm hardly moving up that last run. You can see Jay's just ahead. We've probably got like 2 minutes left of racing, I'm gonna say. And I came down this bit and I was cracked, but Del Boy was there. He was shouting, going absolutely nuts at me. So I give it one last big dig up here when he was shouting. And I was like thinking, you know what? You could probably still close this with one big effort. And I gave it the beans, but the beans just weren't there. I didn't have enough. I got over the top and I was absolutely Shell City again. But absolutely wicked race. Tom come first, Sam come second, then it was Jay who beat me into third, top ride, great battle, I come fourth, and then Pedro for fifth. Absolutely wicked race. If you haven't tried Clanfield Cross, you need to get yourself there next year. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll catch you in the next one.